This is Next Up Podcast, episode 16, part 2, and I'm here with
Ian Alcala.
It's nice to have you on the podcast, Ian.
I'm sorry, what?
It's nice to have you on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, nice to be here.
So, kind of hopping into what you want to be when you grow up. So, kind of tell me and walk me down that road.
Yeah, so I had hadn't thought about what I wanted to be when I grew up, going into high school. I didn't really think about it until this year pretty much. When I signed up for all my classes this year.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about what credits could I get in high school while I'm still in high school going into college so that I could kind of go into that degree knowing some stuff about it.
Yeah.
So I one of my cousins, she is a radiology tech, and she told me about her job at a Christmas function or something, and I was like, oh, that sounds really easy, and she makes a decent amount of money too. So I was like, shoot, I'll do that. So I took two classes this year, anatomy and sports and medicine.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And they're both pre-credits to becoming a radiology tech. So I mean, taking those is kind of a keystone to becoming a radiology tech.
I get you. And kind of walk me down what a radiologist is.
So the difference between radiology tech and radiology is a radiologist is the head person who looks at the actual x-rays, pictures and stuff that, and determine what's wrong with the bone or whatever.
All right, I get
you. But
you.
a radiology tech is just the person who basically sets up the x-ray machine and then takes the x-ray.
Okay.
But after because that's only a 2-year degree. So after that I would also learn MRIs and other stuff like that, just so I could get more money from doing my job and stuff like that.
You.
But yeah, that's kind of my plan right now for it.
So is it just kind of money, or what else draws you to that medical field?
Just how easy it really is, considering how much money you can make off of it.
I get you.
That was the main attraction pull for me. And then also just the work environment, because you know, I've been in hospitals before and stuff like that, and usually they're pretty I broke my clavicle, so I was in a hospital recently, but usually they're seem to be pretty good work environments. So I mean, it doesn't look like anything construction or stuff that, where I just don't find that something I want to do.
Fair enough. Old. And do you know how much you're gonna be making?
I think the starting is 65 to 70.
65
and then
not bad for starting.
And then especially after 2 years, that's a decent. But as you get older, and you work in the same place, so for a longer time, they pay you more and stuff like that. So hopefully I can get it up to 90 to 100 or something that would be nice.
Okay, making that 6 figures would be nice.
That would be really nice, yeah.
But kind of drifting away from that, going more into, I know you play tennis and hockey.
Yeah.
I know you're a big tennis guy. You've gone to state 4 times?
2 times.
2 times?
Yeah.
So going to state, kind of tell me how tennis has affected your high school career.
It actually dictated a lot of my high school career. So my first year, freshman year playing tennis, I didn't. It wasn't even my main sport. Hockey was my main sport at the time.
Yeah.
And I just played tennis because it was a fun sport to play during the summer when it was hot out, and it kept me in shape for hockey.
Yeah. And
so I played it my freshman year, and then I was the number 1 player on our team, and I was like, dang, I'm kind of good at this.
Okay.
So I finished my freshman year, and I went to state, and I was like, dang, this is something I could probably be kind of good at.
Yeah.
So I started taking tennis more seriously after my freshman year. And that year was my last year playing hockey up in Springs competitively until I came back this year and played for county until I got injured.
Gotcha.
And so for the past 3 to 4 years pretty much for tennis, it's just been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
I've played pretty much winter through spring, and then in summers when I really grind tennis. And I'll go up to Springs or Denver usually. And I'll go up there and play with the better players, because in Pueblo we have very select few people who are good.
I got you. And then so you play here.
Yeah.
Right. How is the whole team environment?
For tennis, I mean, I don't feel like I ever really I never got the freshman experience, because I was the number 1 on the team. I never had to put the balls away. I was never really expecting much of me as long as I kept winning. So it really didn't matter.
Okay.
As long as I performed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because the number 2 guy, Dean DiCarlo, my freshman year, we were pretty close in skill my freshman year. When I played him in the ranking matches at the beginning of the year, I barely beat him. But we were pretty close, so we were kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
But it really worked out my freshman year, because having him at that 2 spot, he was pretty much a secure lock at the number 2 spot regionals to qualify for state, and a majority of our team, because of me being in the number 1 spot, it bumped everyone back a spot pretty much than they should have been in. So it like ensured like I think 6 out of our 8 teams qualified for state that year.
Okay.
So it was really good. But yeah, it was my freshman year was really good. It was probably my favorite year. That was probably my favorite like tennis experience out of all 4 years.
And are you playing this season?
Yeah, I played this season already in fall. It was probably like my 3rd favorite season. I think junior and freshman year was by far my favorite. Junior year was pretty good too, and then this year it was just kind of sad thinking about how like it was my like last year as a high school.
End. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And then kind of drifting away from that and going towards like hockey.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been playing hockey for?
I started when I was like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And then I started like playing with my friend Colton, like he said on the sports podcast. Yeah, so I like got him into that because I didn't have like any friends at the time that I knew to play hockey, and my mom was like, "Why don't you get your buddy Colton to start playing with you?" So I got him to start playing with me, and then we grew up, and then I became friends with like Caden and Zeke, and then most of the other players on the team currently.
Yeah,
and so I played that, and then when I was 9, me and Colton went up to Springs and we started playing for them because they had a pretty good team at the time.
Yeah.
And so we played for them, and then I was on his team most of the time. And then I think freshman year was my last year playing up in Springs, and it was always fun. It was like I don't know. I think I had my most fun playing in Pueblo when it was like that group of like our high school team.
All your
pretty
friends.
Much. It was like really fun because when we moved up to Springs, it was like we didn't know most of the people, so it was like kind of hard for like these 2 Pueblo kids to like kind of like come together with like kids they used to play against at the time. But I know a couple of those guys that I used to play up in Springs. They're my friends now. But it was probably my favorite sport out of the 2. I found it a lot more fun than tennis, in my opinion. But I don't know. It was a fun experience though.
And then, are you going to be playing either of them in college?
I doubt I'll play hockey in college. And then for tennis, I don't know. I haven't really made my mind up completely because like I got a scholarship offer from some like D3 school in Nebraska, but like I don't really want to leave Colorado.
Nebraska, I was gonna say. Nebraska's kind of
it's a cold like it'd be pretty bad for tennis.
It'd be an interesting state to go for tennis.
But I don't know. I haven't really made my mind up for tennis because it's never really been a sport where I found it like that fun to play. It was more so just I'm good at this. It's fun to win. You know what I mean?
That's fair. I see where you're coming from in that.
But I don't know. When like you don't win at like a sport you don't find fun, it's like it's horrible in my opinion because you're like
this just sucks. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I think about like when I like lose in tennis. But I don't know. I really haven't made my mind up yet about it. But as of right now, probably not. It might change, but probably not.
And where do you plan on going to college?
Somewhere in Colorado, hopefully. I need to go to a place with a radiology program so I can get the radiology and get like my degree in that. So there are only like a select few places in Colorado with that. I think there's only like 5 or 6 colleges with like radiology programs. And then I applied to all of them, but I know I got into PCC obviously, and then Mesa, and then I think there's a school in Denver like Red Rocks or something like that.
Oh, I do know. I think I do.
I think I got into there too, but those are the only 3 that I'm pretty sure I've gotten accepted to right now.
And what's your number 1?
I don't really know. It kind of depends on where all my friends go. Because like fair. I don't really want to go into college like not knowing anyone. Because I feel like I don't know. I feel like it'd just be a better experience in college to like go to like functions with like people you know instead of like having to make new friendships. And I'm not saying like I wouldn't make new friends in college, but like I feel like it'd just be a lot better to go in there with someone you know. And like especially if you have to like get a dorm your first year, I'd much rather have someone I know than like getting just some random roommate.
I agree with that. But kind of shifting away and kind of wrapping it up with our last 3 final questions, what would you tell our current sophomores, juniors, and freshmen and the incoming freshmen?
For me, it's just like it really like flew by, in my opinion, like just being in high school. And I don't think it's completely processed for me that I'm a senior and then I won't come back here next year. Yeah. And I think you just have to like consider that this is once in a lifetime, like you'll be in high school and you just have to kind of like take into the fact that you got to do what you want to do in high school. Like you can't like not have fun in high school. I feel like it's like one of the last times in your life you can have fun.
I agree.
Besides college, if you go to college. But I feel like it's just one of the last times you can have fun.
I agree. And then what would you tell yourself as a freshman?
Probably not to take tennis as seriously. I think I should have played a lot more sports.
Yeah.
But I wish I played hockey all 4 years for high school. That's one of my like regrets at the moment. But I wish I played a lot more sports. Like I wish I would have done like all 3 sports like for each season. But that's probably what I tell myself is just to like do more and not just focus completely on one thing.
Fair enough. And then our last final question: what would you tell your peers?
My peers?
Yeah.
Probably just thank you for being like a good overall class. I don't think there's anyone in my class that like I don't know. I've never had an issue with any of my like peers. So just thank you for being good peers, basically.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Dean.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
This is the Next Chapter Podcast, and we are out. This is the Next Chapter Podcast, episode 16, part 2, and I am here with...
Hi, I'm Devin Myer.
It's nice to have you on the podcast, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. You've been trying to get me on, but...
I have. I'm a fan. What can I say? I've always wanted you on, man.
Oh, thank you. Am I going to be the most famous person on this?
I mean, are you famous?
No. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel with... I think we're a little over 200 subscribers, so we're pretty much famous.
Yeah, honestly, anything above 50 is famous, in my opinion.
Yeah. I have people come up to me that I don't know, and they're like, hey, you're the podcast guy. You're the sports podcast guy. So that's pretty cool. I guess I wouldn't say famous, but like hometown hero.
Hometown hero is crazy. But let's hop into it and kind of tell me what you want to be when you grow up.
So I want to be a professional sports broadcaster. Basically a commentator, which is what I'm doing now in high school. But a part of that as well, I also would like to continue doing like some of the content creation aspect of things. So I really do enjoy making videos and whatnot, and I've kind of found that passion this year with the help of Manny and Chase and everybody else who does the podcast and whatnot. Fort County, that's the Pueblo County Sports Experience podcast for those of you guys who are listening to this and not listening to that.
Have to shout out.
Have to plug. Yeah, so I want to branch off more personally just because I do like sports and I like doing things like this weekend. I'm not sure when you're watching this, but Super Bowl Sunday, we have the P-Town Football League, and me, Chase, and Manny are part of that, and I'll be recording that, and that'll be going on my personal page. And yeah, I just like fun stuff like that I want to add to my repertoire as well. But mostly just really want to become a professional commentator. And
so that's a college degree, correct?
Yeah, so I would be going to college for broadcasting, media production, and sports broadcasting.
And do you know where you're going to college?
I have it narrowed down. There's a few options. Right now it's looking like mainly Colorado Mesa, since I didn't lock in my freshman and sophomore year, so I lost the opportunity to get a lot of scholarships and go to these bigger schools. So my goal is to go to, either Colorado Mesa, or I have a couple other smaller schools in mind that I could get some credits that'll be transferable and then transfer over to a bigger school and hopefully get a pretty big scholarship opportunity, so that way I can maximize my potential.
And so I'm assuming, is your number one pick Mesa? For right now, at least?
For right now, my actual number one pick, if I can get scholarships and be able to go there, is Northern Arizona University. They have a really good program there, and a lot of things transfer well to ASU, which is the number 2 ranked sports broadcasting school in America, and my goal would be to transfer down there. So if I could get enough scholarships to where my first year is almost free, then I'm going to go there and do that.
Fair enough. So kind of drifting away from that and going more into, as you brought up, the sports podcast and stuff like that, how has that affected your high school career?
Well, it's the reason I locked in. My freshman and sophomore year, I didn't really care a whole lot just because I was pretty much like, I'm going to go to like community college, be an electrician, or end up being like an elementary school teacher, or I even going into the military was like a strong option just because I didn't really care about high school and I didn't do stuff. I took honors classes, but I ended up getting like D's and C's in them for a long time. And then my junior year, I really realized how much I enjoyed broadcasting because we weren't doing it that much. Dino Allen left, and he was the person I commentated with for a long time.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of down a couple commentators. It was hard to get people motivated to do streams. But towards the spring of last year, when we started doing baseball and girls soccer, I really started to realize how much I wanted to do this and that I really wanted to do this for a career. Yeah. And then again, earlier this year, once we started doing the more content creation stuff like that, the more and more I just realized how much I loved it.
Yeah. So as you brought up the commentating. What draws you into the commentating?
Oh, I've always liked sports. I've played a ton of sports through my life, like basketball, baseball, football, soccer at one point. I just love sports, and almost anything athletic catches my eye. I've learned more about tennis and volleyball just by commentating these things, and I've kind of grown fond of them. I enjoy going to volleyball games.
Yeah.
Not as much like watching them on TV. It's not the same, but I've found joy in that, and finding something that makes me happy, it draws.
I hear what you're saying, and a lot of the other broadcast kids that I've been talking about, what they like to say is that you look at the game differently, especially when you're doing that commentating or you're recording. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I wouldn't say I look at the game differently. I like to feel like I've always been a relatively knowledgeable person for sports. I would just say it helps me, I don't know. I look at it and I see it the way I always have, and I just am able to think out loud pretty much. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Fair enough. And then drifting away of that and just kind of going towards more of your high school career, what would you say are some big events in your high school career that have changed your outlook on high school and just life in total?
High school wise, Pigskin has always been big because that's one of our biggest streams every year. Yeah. So every year it's a little boost, like a little confidence boost. This year, especially the Canvas Classic, which was the basketball game between the boys and the girls, that Tannen and I commentated, that was really big. So was the first ever wrestling stream that we commentated, Chase and I. That was huge for me. A lot of the soccer run that we had last year with the girls' soccer team was really special. I enjoyed that. Manny started doing stuff and helping us out there. Yeah. Chase and I got to commentate that. I became much closer with Chase, I felt like, through that. So that was probably the biggest thing for my high school career. And then, of course, I think it was I want to say my freshman year or my sophomore year, Pigskin with Dean Allen was pretty fun.
Fair enough. And then, kind of shifting away from broadcasting in total and going towards more of personal life and stuff like that. What's made in your personal life? What's made you want to go down this route?
Like the route of,
the route of as you said, you brought up like the military options and you didn't really care a lot, but you also said that broadcasting was a big part of that. But was there anything in your personal life that really changed your mindset when it comes to that?
Not really. I mean, my parents, I had a lot of support. It was one thing that I was told I'm good at, and I got pretty quickly. I know that I'm probably not the greatest in the world right now, but it's something that I feel with the support I've gotten from everybody that's helped me get to where I am, they make me feel like I could be the best in the world at doing what I do, and that just makes me happy. And yeah.
Fair enough. So kind of wrapping it up with our last three final questions. Number one, what would you tell the incoming freshmen and our current juniors, sophomores, and freshmen?
So what I would tell everybody, let me start off with the incoming freshmen because they have a clean slate. Do as much as you can. Join as, I regret I dropped DECA. I wish I never did that. Do as many clubs as possible. Don't overwhelm yourself, but find things you like, and there's always a way to do it. I mean, I'm not a huge video game person, and last year we did esports with a bunch of friends, and that was so fun. There's so many ways to do things that you like, and just do that. I mean, it's easy. I just do what you like, and if you're a sophomore or a junior, just stay locked in. I can't stress enough how I screwed myself so bad by not locking in on my grades my freshman and sophomore year. So just stay locked in, work hard, and you'll be as successful as you want to be as long as you work.
I agree. And then what would you tell yourself as a freshman?
Am I allowed to cuss?
No.
Get your grades right, dude. What are you doing? Like, just don't be lazy. Like you dug me a deeper hole, freshman me. That was horrible.
Freshman Devin wasn't interesting, Devin.
Yeah, and don't bleach your hair.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I don't know why you did that.
Yeah.
But much love. I got to post that picture.
Don't.
With this podcast.
Don't, please.
And then our last and final question. What would you tell your peers?
My peers?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I mean, everybody's relatively kind to me. And, they show support. I feel like I've never dogged on for doing a podcast that could be kind of corny at sometimes. I just want to say thank you to everybody, all the people around me.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Devin.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And this is the Next Step Podcast, and we are out.